how we get data from a file or from a table or from an IoT device, which is the live data ingestion using the Spark, and the data warehouse, which is another important topic. So when we discussed this table, so this is in the warehouse terms, it is called as dimension table. Okay, personal information.
Okay.
So we have the transactions table, and this is the fact table. But these are all comes under the OLTP, online transaction processing system. And if I talk about data warehouse, we call it as online analytical processing systems. So in the transaction table, I will transaction amount. So it is something like $10, $12, something like this, and it is on the same date. So 20, 30, 11, 30, 11. So for example, if you have made two transactions on 30th of November, okay, on
Mm-hmm.
the same date, you have spent in two places 10 and $12. But in the data warehouse, I would be having 20, 30, 11 date, but I will be storing the total of the transaction amount. I
Okay.
will not be storing detailed information. So this is just a date example. And then there would be categories. If you spend in groceries, or if you spend in movies, call it as entertainment, or if you spend it in a gas station. So I
Mm-hmm.
can consolidate, the gas station, sum of your transaction amount group by gas station. So that will be my aggregation, query aggregation. So that sort of transformed data, basically a reduced data, is storing here. So even if you have 10 transactions in transaction table, it will be stored as a single record under your USN or your customer ID, which is the
Okay.
primary key. So that is the a basic warehouse concept, and using that data, we can do certain analysis, where quarterly meeting happens, right, in any of the companies. So they discuss
Yeah.
their the profits or loss, or the performance indexes and everything. So those information are gathered based on their data warehouse data.
Okay.
And finally, the Microsoft data engineering in Microsoft Azure. See, on the left-hand side, we see the data sources. Uh, it's a database, or a live stream, basically where the data gets originated or created. Okay,
Okay.
and then the processing, the extract, transform, load happens using Synapse Analytics for in our next 30-day class. And
Mm-hmm.
data factory and stream analytics, there are 2 3 examples we'll use it, but on a large scale, for we'll be using Synapse Analytics a lot compared to stream and data factory. And then
Why is
analytical
why is
data.
that? Why would be using more the analytical than the data factory?
No, we will be using Synapse Analytics more, because that has more flexibility. See, stream analytics built for the only purpose of streaming the live data, right?
Okay.
But in our day-to-day life, we have very less applications for stream application.
Okay. And then the data factory is what I was.
Data factory is another ETL tool. So it does the same thing. It will connect to a source system, transform the data, and then put it into a consolidated data space. Because
Databricks.
every single requirement out there in the industry comes with their unique what do you call unique expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, let's take the data warehousing. If you don't need a data warehouse, if you want the data to be picked up from a file or SQL database, and if you want to transform and put the data back into a SQL database again here.
Mm-hmm.
So here we don't have any storage or the analytical systems in place. It is a plain and simple pick up from A, transform in B, put it in C. So in that case we can simply use a data factory. We don't
Okay.
There is no scope for Synapse Analytics.
Okay.
Synapse deals with a lot of things compared to data factory. So these are two different requirements actually. So with Data Factory, we can build more complex processing systems, but with Synapse Analytics, we have a wide variety of destination systems.
Okay.
So there are complex environments which deals with multiple source and destinations, and there is a complex system which deals with a simple source and destination, but implementation takes a lot of your effort.
Okay. So the
Okay.
previous the project I was building, and the I was working with the other one of my other
Mhm.
friends, that um, so that was mostly focused on the Azure Data Factory
Yeah,
and
that's the
Databricks.
OLTP side of things. They don't have
Okay.
because in such cases, now what happens? Suppose if I can say that read it from table A, I mean database A, use data factory, store it in database B in the destination. So for Synapse Analytics, database B becomes the source. So they have an entirely different system to handle the analytics part, where
Okay.
database B is will act as source, and database C or D, which becomes the data warehouse target. But
Okay.
yeah, you're true. Yeah, yeah. In a lot of projects, I've also seen the same thing. For OLTP transactions, they use ADF, and then for the data warehouse, pipelines and everything, they use Synapse. That's true.
Okay. And then would we
Okay.
be covering some topics, not some topics, but the Azure Data Factory and the Databricks?
Yes. Yes. We have. We
Okay.
have sessions and we have example. It's mostly an end-to-end. It is not just okay. The kind of project we do, Synapse Analytics, no, we'll do repeat the same activities for Data Factory and Databricks as well, an end-to-end
Okay. Yeah, we can
implementation.
skip the live streaming part, because that I'm not uh, concentrated on. I
We'll
mean, not skip. When I say skip, means we can do a
we may
less
not
focus
stress,
on that.
but we'll cover.
Yeah,
Yes,
not.
we'll do.
But the
That
two
is
main I wanted to cover is the Azure Data Factory, the Databricks, and the Synopsys. Yeah, those are the two I wanted to
and
cover with you.
understood. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And finally, the last of our sections will be on the data modeling, and that's another example because the Synapse Analytics, when you query data from a table or file directly, there is an option to print the visualization mode of that output. So
Hmm.
it's like you write your query, get the data. Instead of tabular result, you just choose your line chart, bar chart, or pie chart, or any. It is configurable. So you just change your preferences, configuration, and you will see the output then and there. You don't need to actually build a project in Power BI to see a chart. So Synapse Analytics can do it on the fly. Okay, the second thing is the storage account. So that is the storage account Gen2, which we'll be using. So this is basically storage space created on cloud. So you can, use it to store your files and then interact with it using Synapse Analytics. So the
Okay.
main focus here is to how we store the data and how we connect to that storage account from your analytics workspace, and then how you interact with it basically.
Okay.
And the best part it is the part of this is, even if you have a CSV file and if you know SQL commands, the select query, right? And then there
Hmm.
is a function called open row set, using which you will treat this as if it is a table, even to write your where conditions or grouping the data or do any sort of SQL manipulation on a file as if it's a table. So that is one of the best advantages of this storage account.
Okay.
We will do it in a demo. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Rest everything is like a pretty basic information of where and all it is used. And
Hmm.
I think so, as so far as I have seen, it can be used anywhere in any application on Azure. You can simply give these create a link for this storage account. I mean, link is the technical term. and we'll be connecting to that account using the authentication. You'll have to create a password when you create one. There are two types of storages available. The folder
Hmm.
hierarchy, the HTTP connection, direct connection is available in Blob, and the Gen2 will basically give you a hard disk. So I can say that the hard
Okay.
disk connects here, and you can use it in any way you want. So
Okay.
if the volume is high, Gen2 is preferred.